All right. Good afternoon, Mountain Town folks. It is the last workshop of a fantastic few days, and we really appreciate you sticking it out with us and to be here for our afternoon panel discussion about a community partnership and Teton County's Sustainable Business Leaders Program. My name is Shannon Shuptrine. I'm the Executive Director of the Riverwind Foundation, a local nonprofit. And I have been reflecting on all of the learning that I've done over the last couple of days. And so I wanted to ground today back in the why we are here. And of course, we are all here to share climate solutions, to network, and to collaborate. But I was also really struck yesterday by Dr. Johnson's exercise to find your own personal climate action and her framing of the importance of including what brings you joy, as well as thinking about what are you good at and what needs to be done in order to find your own personal climate action. And I just wanted to share that when I wrote down what brings me joy during that exercise, this place was one of the things that I wrote down. The people and the natural world here bring me joy. And I would bet that there could be some agreement out there that the why of why we are all here has to do with our amazing Goldilocks planet and the fact that our planet gives us absolutely everything that we need. And we are here because we know that we need to, with gratitude, return that favor. There is not just one end goal, it is life's work. And that's what Dr. Johnson shared yesterday. And so I really appreciated that opening for this Mountain Town Summit. And speaking of life's work, I did want to give a quick shout out. I can't really see out there, but the founder and former director of Riverwind, oh, I see him. I can see you glowing over there, Tim. Tim O'Donoghue is here volunteering, and Tim has definitely made it life's work to work on sustainability issues in this community. So I just wanted to acknowledge Tim. Yay, Tim! Woo! And just also acknowledge that though we're talking about a partnership between Teton County Integrated Solid Waste and Recycling and the nonprofit Riverwind today, as you can see, there are a lot of partners involved and there are lots of supporters of all of these efforts. I think some of our board members are in the audience and they are also key to successful partnerships. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of that. And I am really grateful to be here today with other dedicated community leaders. We want to discuss both with each other and with all of you this partnership. Just to give you a little bit of framing, the goal of this partnership is to encourage local businesses and nonprofits to participate in reducing their carbon impact, reduction of waste, energy use, water, transportation, etc. Just so you know what to expect, we're going to give you a little history and evolution of the Sustainable Business Leaders Program. And then I am going to talk just a little bit about the specifics of the program. And from there, we're going to hear from our community leaders about their own personal experience, leveling up from being a sustainable business leader to getting sustainability certified. So at that point, we're going to have a little internal conversation just because an important part of this program is also having business leaders be able to communicate with one another. And then we're going to open it up to some discussion and questions with all of you because life's work means we are always learning and being accountable and trying to improve our impact. And so, we are coming to it in that spirit, and we welcome ideas and participation. This is just one model of a program like this. There are other programs like this all around the country, and again, we want to continue to learn from one another. So I'm going to introduce our panel that is here today, and then we're going to get you all involved a little bit. So we have with us today Becky Kiefer, is Superintendent of Teton County's Integrated Solid Waste and Recycling. Thanks for being here, Becky. Amy McCarthy, who serves as CEO of Teton Raptor Center, a nonprofit advancing raptor conservation through education, research, and rehabilitation. She's served in the position for 14 years and been part of a variety of sustainability initiatives over the past 30 years. In fact, Amy and I, when we were maybe in our 20s, were part of the first eco fair in Jackson a long time ago. Woo! We have with us also Nick Delmolino, who's Executive Director of the Grand Teton Association, and Jessica Vandenbroeke, Wellness Educator and founder of Healthy Being Cafe, Juicery, and Market. So thank you all for being here. And Tim and Mary Lynn, if you are out there, we are going to use the box here in just a minute. But it's a little hard for us to see, but I think it'll help our panelists. It'll be helpful to know who we have in the room, and we are sort of a small and intimate group, and we can't see everybody. But we'd like to just get a sense of that so that we can open up the conversation and include you in the conversation as we go along. Curious how many folks out there are electeds? Okay, so there are a few electeds. Awesome, like 1, 2, 3, great. How about business owners? Okay, yeah, some people wear multiple hats. And then anybody from sustainability or climate nonprofit or consulting? Okay, awesome. So we've got representatives from all of those areas, and hopefully there will be a nice intersection in this conversation about partnerships that are possible. So we are going to have the box, and there were only a few business owners' hands that went up, but we do want to hear from business owners if you are comfortable sharing this. What is the, right now, day-to-day, biggest challenge for you as a small or medium business owner? And if you are willing to share that, you can, raise your hand and we'll get the mic to you.
Hi, thanks for asking. Just curious, do you want it to be sustainability related?
Nope, it can be, what is your biggest daily obstacle?
My name is Genevieve. I'm from Taos, New Mexico, and I own an eco-friendly dry cleaning and laundry business. And the biggest obstacle is staffing, and I'm certain it's related to housing. So
I think we can relate to that. Thank you. Anybody else who's a business owner who would like to chime in? Staffing and housing?
Nope, I'm done.
You have to talk into the box, I guess.
I will echo, as a former business owner, what was just expressed.
Great.
So I'm a business owner, but we do a lot of waste energy type of stuff. And one of the biggest things that we run into, you guys might see or hear, is new technologies. It's kind of why we're still tied to the fossil fuel industries, because a lot of people are so afraid of new technologies and trying something new and seeing outside of the box. This group is not really that group, but outside of this group, you see a lot of people that have the blinders on. It's easy to keep doing the same thing. It's risk-free. I think I've told a lot of people on our first waste energy project, maybe 20 years ago, everything looked great. Everybody was for it. It was taking landfill waste and making energy, electric energy out of it. And the COO of, I better not say Republic Waste, or Big Waste Company, pretty much told us, love the idea, but it would never happen because they make millions of dollars burying trash. So those are the hurdles I think we see, is just people, same with like solar and wind. We talked about it in the electrical panel, the volts, but just, it's hard because people are afraid until they see it. And even when they see it, sometimes they don't want to acknowledge the benefits that come from it.
Yeah, thank you. Status quo sometimes can be, the biggest piece of inertia. There's another one down here. And we'll take this last one, and then we have another piece.
This is a little tangential. I'm Ridgeway's mayor, and while I'm self-employed as a computer consultant, I don't have challenges myself, but I've been hearing a lot from our community this summer and fall about the challenges that they're facing, primarily just with a rather unknown downturn in traffic in business. They share a lot of the same staffing problems, trying to find employees. Housing is at the core of everything, right? But for some reason in our area, there's just been a fall off in general tourist traffic, and nobody really knows why. So we're talking about wayfinding and things like that in the interim. But after the huge COVID bump that we all saw, where people were coming out of the woodwork and kind of overrunning our area, over the last couple of years, it's fallen off quite precipitously. So it's interesting.
Really good point. And, I think others have heard the conversation about the triple bottom line, and it is something that we discuss with the businesses we work with. That in order to have a healthy, thriving business, you also have to consider a healthy, thriving community and environment. Another maybe obstacle, maybe opportunity for small businesses is that problem solving, because there's always something that is thrown at you. So I'll be curious to know if you all can figure out what's driving that. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yes. Great. Okay, so one more thing, and again, this is a little hard because everyone is completely dispersed, but I am an educator, and so I am going to have you do a pair share, and hopefully you can move close to someone so you can have a quick conversation with someone. I am going to, though, task you with this. After we pair share, that means both people get to answer the question. I am going to ask for a few people to share out to the room at large, but you have to share what your partner said. So not what you said, sorry, but what your partner said. So James Rattling Leaf this morning was talking about 2 ears, 1 mouth. So this is a 2 ears, 1 mouth exercise. And the question I'm going to ask folks to consider is, and I know this is a very broad umbrella, but when you walk into a business, what kinds of sustainable practices do you like to see? If you were to notice one, what's something that feels good walking into that business? What's something that you notice in terms of visible, sustainable practices? And I will give sort of a halfway through reminder just so you can swap. And then we'll just take a few what your partner said from the audience. So please find someone, discuss that quickly, and I'll remind you to switch people halfway through.
Love is
Okay, and if you haven't swapped, make sure everybody gets a chance to share, just maybe about another minute. Okay, and try to wrap it up in about 20 seconds. All right, thank you. Let's just take two, but if there is anyone out there and you feel like your partner had something awesome to say and you want to report on what they said, raise your hand and we'll get the box to you. There's one right here or one right here.
So I liked my partner's answer, which was that she notices if the door is just left open completely, letting all the climate control escape all day long.
Love it. Yeah, that's like front and center. Great one. Yeah.
So well, first of all, he takes his own bags shopping with him, and we don't use plastic bags. And he notices about straws and utensils, has a little bamboo hip carrier and does not ask for straws, or looks for the business not to have those kinds of plastic items.
Fantastic. Yeah, and those are behavior changes that on the business end, if those aren't an option, then that leads to that kind of behavior change. So thanks for that example. Maybe one more.
My partner looks for lighting to see if everything's LED. Another thing is well-labeled bins for recycling, but a newer one is translated signs.
Que bien, gracias. All right, well, thank you. We know that small businesses and small business owners can often feel really stretched already, and thinking about adding sustainable practices to operations can sometimes feel like too much or a tipping point. But that is where partnerships like ours can provide a starting place with combined on-the-ground support and a diversity of resources and ability to communicate out. Our goal is to ultimately support changes in business practices that are fundamental to operations and not bolt-on sustainability initiatives or just a box to check. And as we said, this is just one model, and we are here to continue to learn and grow together. And with that, I'm going to pass it along to Becky, who's going to talk about the evolution of the program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Becky Kiefer. I'm the superintendent of Teton County Integrated Solid Waste and Recycling. And I just have to say that it's an absolute pleasure to be with all of you today. And thank you for sticking around. I know it's been an exciting 2 days, but also a long 2 days as well. So thank you for joining us. With that, I want to walk through the journey or the evolution of the Sustainable Business Leaders Program. which has significantly evolved over the last 2 decades. This program has played a key role in engaging businesses to take meaningful action on sustainability, waste diversion, and climate action, which ultimately and selfishly helps the road to zero waste. The program originated as the RRR, Business Leaders Program, in 2007 by ISWR. And it was really a program to promote reduce, reuse, and recycle through the businesses to help promote that philosophy. This program aimed to recognize and support businesses making efforts to minimize waste. The support included ISWR staff would provide in-house waste audits, as well as assess kind of the waste areas and how they were set up on how to improve recycling space. We also kind of assessed purchasing habits and analyzed where there was any reuse opportunities. In turn, the businesses received discounted services at the recycling center, such as electronic waste recycling discounts and secure document shredding. And so we also provided advertising in local advertising outlets to highlight the different businesses participating in the program, as well as, storefront stickers and logos to put on their website for further recognition. But honestly, from the onset, the goal was to reduce landfill disposal and encourage businesses to become environmental leaders in the community, essentially acting as an extension of ISWR to help spread the reduce, reuse, and recycling philosophy to both residents and visitors. Then in 2014, Teton County passed the Road to Zero Waste Resolution, which we are tasked, our community is tasked, with diverting 60% of all waste from the landfill by 2030. And ISWR kind of oversees that, the resolution and the goal. With this ambitious goal sparked renewed focus on business engagement, particularly through the Business Leaders Program. And then in 2016, I'm looking over at Tim O'Donoghue here, the Riverwind Foundation was awarded a grant from the USDA to initiate the Hot Shots team. And this team was a group of paid interns. We endearingly like to call them green professionals. And they were the boots on the ground folks who went around to the businesses and were recruiting businesses into the RRR Business Leaders Program. The Riverwind on top of that and alongside the Hot Shots really helped bring other local organizations into the program fold. Yellowstone Teton Clean Cities began helping businesses assess alternative transportation, and Energy Conservation Works provided energy assessments and audits, as well as made energy recommendations for energy efficiency to the businesses in the program. And then in 2017, the Hot Shots had officially onboarded 100 businesses in our small community in just 1 year, which really laid the foundation for continued sustainability and to further the discussion on what we were trying to achieve on a community level. Then in 2020, ISWR and the Riverwind Foundation formalized a formal partnership through a contract agreement. And ISWR, our part was program oversight, overseeing waste diversion goals and providing the associated tools and resources, as well as financial support for the program. And the Riverwind Foundation took on program administration, which included continued recruiting, offering technical support, and also expanding the BEST certification, which Shannon will touch on here shortly. And as a result, we saw not only increased participation, but we really began to see increased engagement from the businesses. And it really helped formulate a broader community sustainability effort. So then in 2021, in partnership, we evolved the program to the RRR Business Leader 2.0 program. And with that, we began to offer new programming. One was we had quarterly meetings, whether it was webinars during COVID or in-person sessions. And this was an opportunity for the business leaders to get together and network and share the initiatives that they were implementing in their own business models, celebrating each other's successes, and also troubleshooting each other's challenges that they were experiencing. In addition to that, we started a grant program where the business leader dues were put back into the hands of the business leaders themselves to financially support increased sustainability efforts. And in addition to that, the business leaders had already been leaders in the community, but especially the amazing panelists that we have on the stage today, they also became leaders in the program and working with both ISWR and the Riverwind Foundation on helping lead the direction in which they wanted to see the program go. So they really extended their leadership outwardly as well as inwardly. And during that time, ISWR was considering an overhaul, kind of rebrand of the program. And we were considering the Road to Zero Waste Business Leader Program, which is a little wordy. But we really wanted to focus on waste terminology and concepts within the Business Leader Program. And shamelessly, the rebranding was driven by ISWR's desire to align the program more closely with our zero waste goals and efforts. But in the spirit of collaboration and careful planning, we worked with the Riverwind Foundation and rebranded the program to the Sustainable Business Leaders Program. And this shift wasn't just about a name change. It truly was a reflection of the broader focus on sustainability, not just waste management. So we expanded our efforts to include water, energy, transportation, environmental stewardship, DEI, just to name a few. But back to waste and trash, because that's my bread and butter and what I love to talk about most. Here on the screen, you can see ISWR's in-house waste diversion credit model. And this model tracks the waste diversion from landfills and incineration. These established metrics provide a clear indication of the environmental and financial impacts that waste diversion efforts generate. Teton County does not have an active landfill. We operate a trash transfer station on the property of the old Captain closed landfill. So with that being said, we haul trash 100 miles one way to Bonneville County, Idaho. So imagine, on average, 5 trucks averaging 24,000 tons go to Bonneville County every day, Monday through Friday. It's pretty substantial and a significant reason why we have our 60% waste diversion goal. So according to ISWR's data here, in fiscal year 24, Teton County diverted over 14,500 tons from the landfill, which equated to about a 29% diversion rate. So I'm optimistic, and we've got nothing but room for improvement. Also, more importantly, this saved 665 truck trips and avoided 131,669 miles of travel. This reduction helped to avoid 183 metric tons of CO2 emissions just from the hauling, as well as 7,594 metric tons of CO2 equivalents, which is other greenhouse gases that are produced during the landfilling process, including methane and nitrous oxide. I do want to note that the waste diversion model that you see here does include all of Teton County's waste. But at this point, to highlight the sustainable business leaders, we have over 150 active members in our program. And it's these business leaders that truly contribute to the success of our overall efforts by actively reducing waste and minimizing our overall environmental footprint. Their participation is absolutely essential in helping us reach our community's waste diversion and sustainability goals and ultimately climate action initiatives. And today we just hope to inspire other communities to engage with local businesses in a collaborative spirit to not only drive climate action initiatives and sustainability goals, but to also arrive at the table and to actively participate in shaping the narrative of what these programs can look like. It's important to understand through our experience that it's absolutely okay to take the first leap in any direction, because similarly to our program, it will evolve, it will expand, it will pivot, it will face challenges, it may fail, but with perseverance, collaboration, and a little vision, it can absolutely grow and succeed also. And it's an ongoing evolution, adapting to what works when it's needed, just like the environments that we aim to protect. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Becky. Great. Thank you so much, Becky, for taking us on that journey of the evolution. I'm going to zip through this next section a little faster than I intended, just so we can get to the conversation. But I did want to frame some of our programs and initiatives that go beyond sustainable business leaders, so you can understand why we have the business leaders we do here today, and also so that we can demonstrate how this partnership has led to other partnership opportunities. You heard a lot about the Sustainable Business Leaders Program from Becky. Sustainable business leaders are eligible to get sustainability certified, BEST certified through Riverwind. That stands for the Business Emerald Sustainability Tier, and I'm going to show you on the next page a little bit more about what that means. But we also have a youth education and outreach component because we feel like it is essential to activate the youth if we want future sustainable business leaders. We work both with Indigenous youth from the Wind River Reservation and with our local schools, both on this side and actually on the Idaho side in Teton County, Idaho as well. Becky gave you a nice overview of the Sustainable Business Leaders Program. And again, leaders who want to level up and become sustainability certified are eligible to be part of the BEST certification program. That is a six-month program in which businesses are coached and supported through working on these different categories: purchasing, waste management, energy, water, health and safety, building and landscaping, transportation and fuels, community investment, diversity, equity, inclusion, conservation and resource protection, marketing and communications, training, and economic vitality. So it is a very comprehensive and thorough vetting, which includes, developing ways to track energy, water, transportation, carbon footprint, and set goals in these different areas, with that final product being a sustainability management plan. But also know, I say final product, but the idea is that this is a process of continual improvement. Just as this is our life's work, it is not just a certification stamp, and that is something that Riverwind wants to work on, improving that continual improvement portion, because often we all can have that big test we study for, and then we can forget everything that we studied for. We want to keep engaging and keep learning from one another, so that again, it is built into business operations, and that we know there's always more to do, and we're supporting one another in doing that. Becky had shared some great data around waste. Another goal of ours is to continue to improve our ways of recording and tracking data that also demonstrates the impact of these other categories. And so we're going to continue to try to improve ourselves at that quantitative data. But what we do have the opportunity to engage in today is hearing about the qualitative piece, and hearing some storytelling from our local business and nonprofit leaders who have gone through this process. James Rattling Leaf this morning was talking about the importance of storytelling, so we'll get to hear some stories, and then we're going to have some time for conversation. So let me make sure I am, oh, yes, sorry. There was one more thing I wanted to do, which was share this quote, because I want to acknowledge that this was, it was a significant lift for all of these folks to go through this process. The beauty of the partnership, and I forgot to say this when I was talking about the initiatives with the youth outreach, we also are partnering with ISWR and hopefully other nonprofits that are doing climate-related work, so that we're not duplicating efforts. We can be in alignment, and we can connect it back to place-based local efforts and our community-wide goals. So that's something else that this partnership has, has brought to light. And again, just acknowledging the amazing effort these folks have done. I had a quick quote I wanted to share from Dr. Leila Ajaralu, who was just here for the Teton Leadership Center Summit a couple of weeks ago. And she said, "Sustainability is the major innovation opportunity of our time, a chance for organizations to fully embrace a sincere, full systems transformation that opens the pathway to not just sustaining our beautiful planet, but restoring and regenerating it." So I'm excited for you to hear how that's going from our leaders. So I will get you teed up, Amy, and you are on.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy again from Teton Raptor Center. We're a nonprofit conservation organization out in Wilson, Wyoming. And we engaged in BEST certification in the midst of a pretty sizable capital project and restoration out on the facility. So I think there's no best timing for BEST. It was an interesting time for us to embark on that endeavor and assimilate a lot of data that is necessary to move through this process. So just mainly because we were pulling information from our campus before we were in the mode of the new design of the campus, the restored buildings, and so we got a before, and now we're really working on baseline and now what's to come as a result of some big sustainability initiatives that we implemented into our campus because we had the opportunity through a capital project, and then, scaled all the way down to, okay, well, now what paper are we ordering? So this is a little view of our campus, and just to highlight some of the concept and the intention that went into designing for the future, a campus that has sustainable qualities, it's durable, a real attentiveness to energy use on the campus, and that's something, well, let me just show you up here what we've got on our campus. We've got, way up there in the corner is a beautiful historic barn, and right, the best way to go is to reuse something, right? So we were able to do that in our project, and that was a beautiful opportunity to share something that's treasured in our community and repurpose it for community use and collaborations. That's the inside of that windproof Gothic barn, and we've had some sustainability events in there, and it's just a real nexus, I believe and I hope, for a community. And inside there are all sorts of little qualities that showcase themselves about our sustainability focus. And outside, we've also looked at the experience people have coming in and being on the campus during the summer. We've got some native plant gardens that are really beautiful. And what I'll end with on the best certification is just how impressively comprehensive the program is, how very rigorous it is, and therefore extremely worthwhile. We learned so much about ourselves and things that we needed to be thinking about more intensively to do better, and then to be able to share with others. So I'll leave it at that and pass it along to Nick from Grand Teton Association.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, Nick Delmolino, Executive Director from the Grand Teton Association. The Grand Teton Association is the cooperating association of Grand Teton National Park, the National Elk Refuge, and the Bridger Teton National Forest. So we work very closely with all land management agencies here, and we generate most of our revenue through sales activities. So we operate bookstores and gift shops in basically all the visitor centers throughout the area, from Pinedale, Wyoming, all the way up to Coulter Bay on Jackson Lake. And we're a small team, only 6 full-time staff members, but we do hire about 32 seasonal folks to work in all of our stores and manage all of the different operations. And, you know, so I have to start by saying, like, our whole reason for even getting involved in this BEST certification process is really due to Amy. I worked at Teton Raptor Center prior to working for the Grand Teton Association as the development director. I wasn't like a big part of the BEST sustainability certification at the Raptor Center, but Amy's leadership, when I joined Grand Teton Association, it was kind of one of the top first things I said that we needed to do as an organization was also define our processes and begin to gather some baseline data. So that's what we've been working on, and Tim was a huge help with that, and it's been fun to continue that work with Shannon. And I think really it was early on, it was like, okay, how do we engage this team? This is a relatively new concept, even though we've been a partner of Grand Teton National Park for 87 years. How do we really operationalize a lot of this work? And that was actually started with a book that Patagonia, I think, republished recently that I shared with our full-time team called The Future of the Responsible Company or Business, I can't remember. But it has some really great checklists in the back, and that was great for the team to read, to kind of understand and get a little bit of buy-in from people, because as everyone has mentioned, this is a pretty rigorous process in developing the sustainability management plan for the organization. But from there, then I think people really got inspired and started taking some of this stuff to heart and thinking about how they could operationalize it within their roles on the team. And, you know, our warehouse manager, the first thing I have on there on transportation, our warehouse manager really looked at all of the different deliveries that we're doing throughout the valley and was able to like cut those down from like, I think, 11 or 12 to like 6 or 7 a week and cut them in half. And that saved just this summer alone over 2,700 miles driven, and really kind of got things more efficient for the organization as well. One other thing I just want to point to on that is some people who were not quite as like bought into this, that I think is just a good reminder is to like tell people about the cost savings related here too. And so, you know, we were able to save fuel expenses in excess of $750 just from our small little van doing deliveries throughout the valley. On the waste management side of things, we get a lot of cardboard, we get a lot of product that comes in, we reuse that as much as we can, and then we were able to you know, start tracking how much cardboard we are diverting, and we've gotten over 5,000 pounds of cardboard that we've been weighing and measuring. That's going down to ISWR now, and then, you know, the other part that I think is really cool about the BEST sustainability whole project is the community investment component. And really that's built into our mission as a nonprofit organization and as a partner of public lands or agencies, but it was really good to just highlight that again for our team and our board that, you know, the work we're doing is having impact. And so on October 28th, there's a new public art installation that's going in at the National Elk Refuge Visitor Center that we kind of baked into this process as well as a part of our community investment. So that mural will be unveiled on the 28th. And then we kind of reworked our support of the Indigenous Arts and Cultural Demonstration program that happens at the Coulter Bay Visitor Center in Grand Teton National Park. And we upped our support to support visiting artists coming from different tribal communities throughout the region to be a part of that up at Coulter Bay. So all of those were just a few of the areas that we were able to make some impacts, but it's been really great, and we're looking forward. We've already started to develop our sustainability management plan for 2025 as we're moving forward.
Thanks, Nick.
So I'm Jessica from Healthy Being Cafe and Juicery, and I believe we're the only restaurant that has worked towards the BEST certification. And my motivation initially started, I spent 10 years working in business development as a managing partner with another restaurant group prior to opening my own restaurant in 2012. And my frustrations with the nature of doing business, or let's say the non-nature of doing business, led me to embrace a very different approach to the practices that I founded my business with from the very beginning. You know, as we all know, food waste, lack of quality, vibrant, healthy ingredients, single-use packaging, lack of work-life equilibrium, and overall lack of intention and focus toward health and well-being. These are all common traits of restaurant businesses and common complaints of restaurant employees, so I sought to do something very different with Healthy Being. So I spent a lot of time visualizing how the business of restaurants could be done differently. I created a plan and launched Healthy Being in 2012 with very high ideals, high standards, and a mindset of growth and evolution. And there just wasn't a roadmap to a restaurant like mine at that time, and especially not with this style that I wanted to deliver it, the quality, the care, and the hospitality that I wanted to offer. So we spent the last 12 years trying things and evolving and really just learning what works and what doesn't, and always dreaming about what we'll do next, and remaining open to the possibilities versus shutting down thinking something doesn't work. And one thing that I've noticed is what didn't work in 2013 might work in 2025, and so just staying open. Healthy Being Cafe, Juicery, and Market, it's a lot to say because we offer a lot. We're a cold pressed juicery, pressing fresh juice daily. We're a cafe. Our food and juices are made with ingredients sourced from many local and regional farm partners, as well as when the season doesn't allow that, we use 100% organic produce and ingredients. We serve food that is plant-rich, as well as some clean meat sources on our menu. And we're a coffee shop, partnering with an Idaho coffee brand called Doma, who prioritizes sustainability. We offer clean eating programs where people can take a break from making their food and let us make their meals for a few days or more. We also have a Wellbeing market that I fill with things that can enhance the health of our guests' homes, skin, body, mind, and spirit. And we're a community center for gathering and events. And some of the practices that we've had since the early days, we recycle everything possible. We compost all of our food and juice scraps. We bottle our juices in reusable glass jars for a $2 refundable bottle deposit. We offer a reusable lunchbox for a $5 rental. We source recycled PFAS-free paper and compostables for single-use items. We prioritize sourcing products from vendors who share our values and ethos. We sell items that help people cut down waste in their homes, like reusable food savers, shampoo and conditioner bars, etc., and many other things that are inherent in every aspect of the way we operate. So last fall, we accepted the invitation to jump into Riverwind Foundation's Best Sustainability Certification Program. And Tim had been asking me to do this for years, and though Healthy Being had embodied these practices and we really walked the walk, I was just too busy running my business, and it seemed daunting and unrealistic and unnecessary since we were already doing so much. But I have an assistant manager right now that was very enthusiastic, and she's very capable, and she got us to sign up, and she said, I'll help do the work. So we jumped in, and we spent the last 6 months working with Shannon and Tim, tracking data, examining our practices, and documenting everything, so we were able to see the results of our actions and create a plan for future growth. We wrote a sustainability management plan, updated our Healthy Being team manual, and in May we received our best certification with a score of over 100%. What we changed and what we noticed. First of all, it was a ton of work, and it was incredibly inspiring. Documenting our efforts and quantifying the results in data was and is very motivating for us as managers, but also for our team. We identified that we want to be more than sustainable, we actually want to be regenerative, which is a heavy lift, especially in the restaurant business and the retail business, but we now have our plan to guide us. And we're finding ways to integrate the tracking and review into our daily, monthly, quarterly, and annual routines is the key. We know this is the key to keeping up with our goals, and it's very challenging in the real world of the restaurant business. We noticed that we haven't done a very good job sharing our story and our efforts with our community over the years, and we identified community as an element that is very important to us and where we had something to offer that was being underutilized. So we invited artists, musicians, poets, and all kinds of different events and more to our community events on our outdoor lawn this summer and fall. We donated fundraising events for local nonprofit organizations doing good work for local food and local people. And we switched to stainless steel straws for all in-house orders, and that drastically reduced our single-use straw consumption this summer. We purchased a dessert display refrigerator, so we only package desserts in single-use boxes if someone is taking away, again, working towards reducing our single-use goal. We partnered with One Tree Planted, and we planted 1,000 trees in the US this year. We partnered with Amanzi Water to Schools to plant a garden in South Africa that will feed and educate students, and we still have a lot that we can improve. We have many goals to accomplish in this next year that are clearly identified in our sustainability management plan, and we're excited to start sharing our story and to hopefully inspire other restaurants to make some changes too.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much. And again, just commend all of you for your commitment and efforts. And knowing, I think, sometimes these changes are driven because people start with those values, and it's really a goal of ours to also figure out how to, to welcome folks in, maybe who aren't there yet. And there have been some great ideas at Mountain Towns. I was going to have us do some internal questioning, but we only have 5 minutes left. And so I do want to see if any of you have any specific questions for any of our panelists today, and make sure there's some time for some conversation. So if our box carriers can be ready, and if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get going.
I'm wondering if there's a cost to the businesses that go through the program and how the program is funded.
Yes, so there is a minimal cost, and they pay Riverwind, the nonprofit. So it is funded through the nonprofit's fundraising efforts at this point. And probably some ways for us as a nonprofit to consider, long-term health and sustainability of that business model. And that's a conversation we continue to have. Yeah.
Thank you. This is for you, Shannon. As we know, there's lots of turnover with businesses.
Yep.
So how do you keep the businesses moving forward with actions? Do they need to add a certain number of actions every year to stay in the program? Many of these programs, they get in the program, they stay there, they're on the list, nothing else happens. And then recertification every 3 years, every 5 years. What's the long-term plan?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And we are formalizing a 3-year recertification process. And then just this year, we had a Google form where everybody is reporting on, progress on sustainability goals in their plan and next steps, so that we have those incremental check-ins as well. And we also just hope to be telling these stories more frequently. That in and of itself is a form of accountability. So, continue to look to these businesses and organizations as leaders in the community. But it's something that we want to continue to improve. With the staff turnover, part of BEST certification is creating staff training and protocol, because we know that is key. And, and that's something that happens with a lot of sustainable business leaders, is they'll have a person who's passionate and that person leaves. And as you say, sometimes those efforts can fall off if it isn't built into the system. And our hope is with the certification, that is more fundamental systems change. Yeah, more improvements in the future. There's another one.
Thank you all so much. I really commend all of you business owners for taking that on. I know how much work something like that is. I don't know who this question is for, but how do you generate interest from businesses who are not maybe ethically aligned from the start? And have you been able to do that?
Does anyone feel like they want to take that? Jessica's turning on her mic.
This is a very good question that Shannon and I have been contemplating a lot lately, because we have some big goals with other restaurants especially, and I would love to ask some of you the same question, because we're talking about ideas, and sharing the story is one version, but it is difficult because I am very passionate about this, and I know that there's still restaurants that we were just having a discussion you go into, and there's styrofoam even being, foods being served, everything is throwaway even when you're dining in. So there's a big gap. And so how do we cross that gap, and how do we connect to just different value systems or just lack of awareness or something? So if you guys have any feedback and seen anything that works in other places, I would love to hear that, because we're in this process of learning for our community currently. Yeah, I do too, and I love your idea. That's one of the ones we have been talking about. That's my vision too. If every restaurant in Jackson had the lunch boxes, it doesn't. It's very easy. It's just the same as washing a plate. And if you could just take it back to any restaurant and use it again or trade it in for your money back, there would be no obstacle for engagement. And that's my goal for this year. We'll see how far we get.
Woo! We actually have an event planned at Jessica's restaurant, and we are going to do some targeting invites so that hopefully folks can see, again, how it has shifted operations, save money, and that it's not maybe as hard of a lift as they think it would be.
You have a question over here?
Great.
Hello, Baker and Jimena here with Aspen, and we are we're working with the state of Colorado, the Colorado Green Business Network, and getting businesses involved in a similar-ish program. And I'm curious, what are some of the best forms of support you all received as business owners and places that you felt like there could be increased support?
I think the beauty of the BEST certification process is all the support that you are given, a partner, a mentor to help carry you through a very ambitious spreadsheet of data compilation. And some things, we all are coming from a variety of different endeavors, and for us, we're Raptor conservation organizations, and some things might in the list felt a little more specific to a lodging entity, for example, and just really doing some hard thinking about, okay, but there is something there, and how does that fit? How are we going to measure it? And we were very thoughtfully led and guided through the process. So what Riverwind has done to enable businesses, nonprofits to take that deep dive and learn a lot more about their operations and their aspirations. I think that level, that level of
yes, just gonna stick with you, maybe.
Tense. Anyhow, I think a credit to Riverwind for providing that kind of support to make it happen.
Amy, any areas where there was a wish for more support along the way? That was the second part of the question.
Oh, I really felt we had it, and that's why we were able to complete the process.
Hi there. Wow, I've never used this before. It's actually really nice. Hi, I'm Julie. I know a number of you. Thank you so much for presenting on this. I saw somebody holding the Sustainable Business Guide earlier, and I was like, I have to find a copy of this. My question is from the consumer perspective. I've really appreciated having this guide and looking at the different organizations that are listed on here. I am curious, how are you promoting this certification and hearing that it is such a long and intensive process and intentional? How are you sharing this with the consumer and helping them make the choice to invest their dollars into businesses that are sustainable or that are doing this work?
Yeah, such a great question, Julie. And I think this is another continued place for innovation and just improving practices, because I still think many people don't know, or don't know that the Sustainable Business Guide is out there. I will say thank you to the Jackson Hole Travel and Tourism did just link the Sustainable Business Guide onto their Visit Jackson Hole sustainability page. So that allows visitors who may be looking at sustainability, they're interested in sustainability, they have that access to businesses who are making that commitment. Another part of the BEST certification process is the communications and marketing, and that has to do with, display boards in places of business, or, sustainability pledges that are posted, good labeling, and I'm going to just pass it on to all of you, because you might have some other thoughts that way. That's my 2 cents.
One of the things that we did, but this speaks to our customers that are already coming in, we did create a board, our sustainability, basically information board, where we put all of the community events that we have going on and partnerships that we've made with other local organizations or initiatives like the One Tree Planted partnership. And it's just informational, educational there for our customers, kind of where they wait for their smoothie pickup or something so they can have something to read. And one of the challenges for me with this has been feeling like I'm just rooting for my business, and here's all the great things that we do, and that doesn't always feel very authentic to me. So I am trying to, this is part of the sustainability management plan, trying to kind of just move through that and understand that it's important for many levels to spread that word and tell the story, and that there's a greater need, and we need to inspire others to be taking these actions too. And so being out there more and just being willing to realize that it's not about us.
Thank you. Okay, I think we have overrun our time, but I do want to thank you all for hanging in there with us. That was great conversation, and we are really grateful for your participation. And I'd say not everybody can stay afterwards, but for those that can, grab folks if you want to ask questions as we transition. So thank you.